English podcast and tech. Charles here. Welcome back. Open any website right now, any page on the internet. You will see words in a different color, usually blue and underlined. Click on them and you jump to another page, another document, another idea. We call these links, and we use them hundreds of times every day without thinking about them. But someone had to imagine them first. Someone had to say, what if words could connect to other words? What if reading was not linear? What if knowledge was a web, not a book? That person is Ted Nelson. This is episode 12 of The People Who Built the Digital World. Today we meet one of the most original and most misunderstood thinkers in the history of computing. Let's begin. Let's learn today's key words. The first word is link. A link is a connection between two pieces of information. Clicking on it takes you from one document to another. Links are everywhere on the internet. Every time you click on a word, a photo, or a button that takes you somewhere else, you are using a link. Repeat after me. Link. The second word is nonlinear. Nonlinear means not following a straight line from beginning to end. You can jump between ideas in any order. A book is linear. You read page 1, then page 2, then page 3. The web is nonlinear. You can start anywhere and go anywhere. Repeat after me. Nonlinear. The third word is hypertext. We learned this word in episode 10. Hypertext is text that contains links to other documents. Ted Nelson invented the word hypertext in 1963. He defined it as text that branches and allows choices, a completely new way to read and organize information. Repeat after me. Hypertext. The fourth word is vision. We have used this word many times in our series. Ted Nelson had an enormous vision, a universal library connecting all human knowledge. His vision was called Xanadu, a system where every document in the world would be connected to every other document, and where anyone could follow the connections. Repeat after me. Vision. The fifth word is publish. We learned this word in episode 1. To publish means to make something available for others to read. Ted Nelson believed that anyone should be able to publish anything, and that all published work should be permanently connected and accessible. Repeat after me. Publish. The sixth word is copyright. Copyright is the legal right of a creator to control how their work is used and shared. Ted Nelson thought deeply about copyright in a digital world. He believed that when you use someone's work online, they should automatically receive a small payment. He called this micropayment. Repeat after me. Copyright. The seventh word is unfinished. Unfinished means not completed, work that is still in progress or was never completed. Ted Nelson spent his entire life working on Xanadu, his vision of a universal hypertext system. After more than 60 years, it remains largely unfinished, but its ideas changed the world anyway. Repeat after me. Unfinished. The eighth word is influence. Influence means the power to affect how other people think or what they do. Ted Nelson's influence on the history of computing is enormous, even though most of his projects were never completed. His ideas inspired Tim Berners-Lee, Douglas Engelbart, and many others. Repeat after me. Influence. 8 words. Link, nonlinear, hypertext, vision, publish, copyright, unfinished, influence. Now let's hear his story. The year is 1937. In Chicago, Illinois, a boy is born. His name is Theodore Holm Nelson. The world will know him as Ted Nelson. Ted's childhood is unusual. His parents are both famous. His father is a television director, His mother is an actress. But Ted does not grow up with his parents. They separate when he is very young. He is raised by his grandparents in Greenwich Village, New York. Greenwich Village in the 1940s and 1950s is a vibrant neighborhood full of artists, writers, musicians, and intellectuals. Ted grows up surrounded by creative people and big ideas. He reads voraciously history, philosophy, science, literature. But Ted has a problem. He has what today we would call ADHD. His mind jumps constantly between ideas. He struggles to think in a straight line. For Ted, reading a book is frustrating. He wants to follow every idea to its source. He wants to jump between connected concepts. He wants to read in all directions at once. Books, he thinks, are too rigid, too linear. Knowledge does not work in a straight line, so why should reading? Ted studies philosophy at Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania. He later goes to Harvard University to study sociology. At Harvard in 1960, Ted takes his first computer course. He is immediately fascinated, not by the mathematics, not by the programming, but by a question: could a computer help people manage information the way the human mind actually works? The human mind does not think in straight lines. It makes connections. It jumps between related ideas. It builds networks of meaning. What if a computer system could do the same thing? In 1963, Ted Nelson begins working on a project for a class at Harvard. He wants to build a writing system where text can branch, where a writer can create multiple paths through a document. To describe this idea, he invents a new word: hypertext. Hyper comes from the Greek word meaning above or beyond. Hypertext is text that goes beyond the limitations of normal text, text that connects, branches, and links. Ted presents his idea at a conference in 1965. Most people in the room do not understand what he is talking about. But a few people listen carefully. One of them is Douglas Engelbart, who we met in episode 10, who uses Ted's concept of hypertext in his NLS system. Over the following years, Ted develops his vision into something much larger. He imagines a system he calls Xanadu, named after the famous poem by Samuel Taylor Coleridge about a magical, perfect place. Xanadu is Ted's dream of a universal hypertext library, a single system connecting every document ever written. In Xanadu, every piece of text would have a permanent address. It could never be deleted or moved. Every link would work in both directions, not just forward, but backward too. You could always see what linked to you. And every time someone used your writing, quoted it, linked to it, built on it, you would automatically receive a small payment, a micropayment. Ted spends decades trying to build Xanadu. He writes about it, lectures about it, and inspires hundreds of people with the idea. But Xanadu is never finished. It is too ambitious, too complex. The technology of the time is never quite ready for it. Then, in 1989, a British scientist named Tim Berners-Lee, who we will meet in episode 18, invents the World Wide Web. The web uses hypertext. It uses links. It uses the idea that documents can connect to other documents across a global network. These are Ted Nelson's ideas, implemented in a simpler, more practical way. Ted is not entirely happy with the web. He thinks it is too simple, a reduced version of what Xanadu could have been. He criticizes the web for having one-directional links. You can go forward but not backward. For allowing broken links, pages that disappear. For having no built-in payment system for creators. In many ways, Ted was right. These problems still exist on the web today. But the web exists, and Xanadu does not. Ted Nelson is now in his late 80s. He continues to work on Xanadu, still unfinished after more than 60 years. His contribution to the history of computing is difficult to measure. He never built a successful product. He never founded a major company. But he gave the world a word, hypertext, and an idea that knowledge should be connected, nonlinear, and accessible to everyone. Every time you click a link on any website, in any app, in any document, you are inside Ted Nelson's idea. Let's review the 8 key words from today's episode. Link, a connection between two pieces of information. Every clickable word or image on the internet is a link, an idea Ted Nelson imagined in 1963. Nonlinear, not following a straight line. The web is nonlinear. You can start anywhere and go anywhere, following links in any direction. Hypertext, text with clickable links. Ted Nelson invented this word in 1963 to describe text that branches and connects to other text. Vision, the ability to imagine the future. Ted Nelson's vision of Xanadu, a universal connected library, was so large that nobody could build it. Publish, to make something available to read. Ted Nelson believed anyone should be able to publish anything, and that all published work should stay permanently connected. Copyright, the legal right to control how your work is used. Ted Nelson proposed micropayments, automatic small payments every time someone uses your published work online. Unfinished, not completed. Xanadu remains unfinished after more than 60 years, but its ideas changed computing forever. Influence, the power to affect how others think. Ted Nelson's influence is enormous. He inspired Engelbart, Berners-Lee, and the entire concept of the modern web. That is the story of Ted Nelson, the man who imagined the web before the web existed. A boy who could not read in a straight line and turned that into a new way of thinking about knowledge. A dreamer whose dream was too big to build, but whose ideas built the world anyway. Today's phrase to remember is, some ideas are too big for one lifetime. Ted Nelson is still working on Xanadu, still dreaming, still unfinished. Repeat after me. Some ideas are too big for one lifetime. One more time. Some ideas are too big for one lifetime. In the next episode, we meet Gary Kildall, the man who built the first operating system for personal computers, and who made one decision that changed the entire history of the tech industry. Your question for today in English: do you prefer reading in a linear way, like a book, or in a non-linear way, jumping between links on the web? Write your answer in the comments. It is a great question for practicing opinion phrases in English. See you in episode 13. This is Charles, and this is English Podcast in Tech.